Hi, gun people. You remember a case a while back? Somebody put a comment. I appreciate when you guys put in the comments, kind of like there's follow up to videos I did. Uh, Remember that off duty LA cop in Costco holding his kid? Supposedly was attacked by a mentally challenged young man and his parents, and they were all shot. And the LA cop shot him, so they thought his life was in danger, and everybody's like, arrest him! I want to see the tape. And well, they released a video, and I don't know if it shows a whole bunch, but the DA decided not to charge. And they're saying intellectually disabled. I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean if you get that title, you can run around and do whatever you want, you can hit people, and they're not supposed to react? I mean, they're throwing around this intellectually disabled like it's some sort of, he shouldn't have been shot no matter what he did. And I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what the definition is. Does that mean he got a low IQ? Does that mean he got kicked out of high school because he couldn't pass? What does that mean? But anyway, let's get into some legal case on why I think they didn't charge this guy. Well, and we'll look at the video. Let's look at the video so you can see how clear it is. So this is the guy. He's a pretty big dude, and you'll see him. I think he's wearing a striped shirt in the video. So I've got the video slowed down because it's just a little quick here. And here's right before the shooting. Here's where they are. This is a zoom in. Not a real great picture, but you can tell they're in some sort of scuffle. So I'm going to go back just a little bit and we'll play this in slow-mo as you see them come on the screen. Let's watch this one first. Up in the top left here. Here they come. There's some sort of pushing. He gets hit behind. Does he have his kid? What happens to his kid? Does he throw him in a basket? Guy in the black, I think, is the LA. I could be wrong. He goes down. And I think that's the suspect. We'll watch it again here, and we'll watch it down here in this area. So they're going to come in out of this area here. To me, it almost looks like they got in an argument and they're facing each other. It wasn't a blind attack with an immediate reaction to shoot. According to the officer, he was hit in the back of the head so hard that he thought he was shot. He thought he was a victim of a mass shooting. He turned and returned fire. How many rounds do you think he fired? They didn't say that at first. Now it's out. He fired 10 rounds. He hit the suspect like 3 or 4 times, hit the 3 in the back, 1 in the shoulder. He hit the mom, I think, once in the stomach, and he hit the dad once in the chest. So he just did what every cop does, spray and pray, because government's never held accountable. Remember, if you give up your guns, they can have guns, they'll just shoot everybody. But you having a gun is dangerous, and you don't have enough training, so they want to take your gun. But I digress. I want to get into some case law on why the 10-round thing, the court ruled that the number of rounds you fired is not unreasonable. So they took the case to the grand jury and they declined to charge him. And I think they get in there somewhere. Let's see. It was believed that he had been a victim of gunfire when he was actually received a blow to the back of the head from Kenneth French, 32. Sanchez was holding his 18-month-old son. Man, I tell you, man, the way they write articles, it's like intentionally designed to confuse you. So, let's see. Several witnesses heard the statement. Saw him check for blood behind his head because he thought he was shot. Based on what I know, my life was in danger. Keywords, you always have to say you were in fear of your life or in fear of others. I thought they got in. Well, they said somewhere in this article, and you guys might find it because you can pause it and read it. I'm kind of scanning through it. That here's where they get into the 19-member grand jury heard the testimony. It only takes 12 of the 19 to indict. They did not indict, but they did not say how many voted to indict and how many voted not to indict, because that might upset some people. If it was like a split, you know, like one more person, they would have indicted him. They didn't want to inflame it. They just said, look, the grand jury didn't indict. And the prosecutor said he took him to the grand jury because the grand jury can compel witnesses to testify and he can't. I don't believe that's true. The difference is a grand jury can put you in jail if you don't testify, and the DA can't. Now, the court can hold you in contempt if you refuse, but if you say, I don't remember, then they can't do anything. But I think a grand jury, I'm not sure. Each grand jury is different, too. Some states have taken away grand jury power, some haven't. Somewhere in here it says who he shot how many times. He fired 10 rounds. Let me find it. Okay, here it is. DA chief investigator said he determined that in 3.8 seconds, French struck Sanchez in the back. French is the dead guy that was shot. Sanchez is the cop. In the back of the head. Sanchez fired the first of 10 shots. 3 shots hit French in the back. 1 hit him in the shoulder. 1 hit his mother in the stomach. And 1 hit his father in the back. That's some spraying and praying. But, you know, and there's really no reason to worry about your firearm shooting and capabilities. People are like, he needs more training. Why does he need more training? He can just spray and pray and nobody's held accountable. Government can do what they want. You can't give government power to do what they want and then say, oh, we need to make government more accountable. You lost that ability when you allow them to do what they want. So let's get into the case law on why 10 rounds, a lot of people say that's unreasonable. Well, I'm going to show you why it's not unreasonable. So if you want to know about shooting case law, you go to my website, thinklikeacop.org, not .com, .org. You scroll down here, and I've got deadly force case law. And then if you click on this, it'll open up a little PDF that I've put in here. And I used to use this when I did training on cops. You know, I was an instructor for weaponless defense, for batons, impact weapons, and for firearms. So as a trainer, I had to make sure I could give case law to people that they would, you know, to make them educated if they're going to use force, how they can use it. So if you click on here, it's going to take you to a PDF where I have all these different case laws that I've just used for my notes. And I kind of just put them up here. So if somebody wants, there's probably new case law that I've probably talked about and read, but I haven't added. So if you need me to add some of this, put it in a comment on the case that I need to add and what the case pertains to, and I'll update this so everybody can have a running document. So the cases that are kind of key is Tennessee Garner, what's some other common ones? Ford and Childers, that one's Forrester, San Diego. That's pretty common, used a lot. Let's see. Anyway, let me get down to the one where it's the officer shooting. So in this case, Elliott versus Levitt, and here's the case site. If you highlight it and right click on it, you can click Google, you know, search this, and it'll automatically bring up the cases. So it's pretty easy to get to what you want to look. So some of the things that this case pointed out was, does not require officers to gamble with their lives, which is why it also supports you can shoot somebody in the back. You don't have to warn them. Fourth Amendment does not require for officers to wait for a suspect to shoot before they decide to act. So I can shoot you before you shoot me. Obviously, if I have to wait, then there's a problem. I may not get to shoot. The court also ruled that the fact that 22 rounds were shot shows the officer believed they faced a serious threat. So the number of rounds, you cannot say because an officer fired a lot of rounds that the force was not justified. The courts have already ruled on that. You can't, it's either justified or it's not. It doesn't matter. Just like you don't, some of the other cases, let's see, it does not matter policy, officer uses reasonable force, heat of the battle instruction, everybody has, you know, certain jury instructions. But let's look at this case here on Elliott. What was it? Hell, I had it. I lost the damn thing because I clicked off. Where was the 22 rounds? Here we go. Elliott. So let's look at this case. So in this case review, they pointed out the critical point. Elliott was threatening, and while they fired 22 rounds, there was a kid in the back of the seat. He was handcuffed in the back. He was able to hide a gun. He pulled a gun out and pointed at the officers handcuffed in the back of the patrol car. And 2 cops pulled their rounds and fired 22 rounds. And everybody screamed it was excessive force because they fired 22 rounds on a guy that was handcuffed in a patrol car. They didn't really want to concentrate the fact that he pulled a gun and was pointing at officers. They just wanted to concentrate. He was handcuffed in a car. Therefore, there's no way and no reason a cop should fire 22 rounds at a guy that's handcuffed. Well, the court disagreed and said, BS. They don't have to wait for him to shoot him. He had a gun. He pointed at him. They were in fear of their lives. They shot 22 rounds. That, therefore, shows they were in fear. They wanted to stop the threat, and we rule in favor of the cops. So, let's see. It does not require officers to wait for the suspect to shoot to confirm the seriousness of the threat. The court's comment also, the officers moved away from the car, unfortunately, suggested more reflective that the peace of the judge's chamber. So you can't judge. There's case law that says you can't judge an officer with hindsight of 2020. And I don't know if they talk about it in this hearing, and I'm not sure what the case is, but you have to view use of force in the eyes of the officer. You can't view it later sitting in your courtroom. You know what? If I was there, I wouldn't have done that. That doesn't matter what you would have done. And that's why I tell people all the time. People go, that cop, if I would have done it, I would have done. It doesn't matter what you would have done. What matters is the officer that did it under the circumstances and the totality of circumstances of what he knew at the time. Was it reasonable? And you know who they're going to ask? Other officers with the same training experience in the same situation. Would you have done the same thing? And if the officers say yes, which they will, then it's going to be deemed reasonable. All right. And let me do a quick search here on 20 hindsight. And see, there we go. It comes up right there. I was right on it. Let's see. In this case, it says a reviewing court may not, specifically says the court may not employ the 2020 vision of hindsight and must make allowances for the fact that the police officers are forced to make split-second judgments in circumstances that are, this is the term I use a lot, tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving. Graham versus Connor, I guess, is what they did that. The court focus should be on the circumstances of the moment force was used and the fact that the officers on the beat are often not afforded the luxury of armchair reflection. So people come here a lot and tell me I armchair when I give these use of force evaluations. First of all, I was an expert in use of force, so my opinion mattered to the courts, and I've testified in state and federal courts. So when I'm giving my opinion, it's not like you idiots who are coming here saying, you're just being an armchair quarterback, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, the courts disagreed, and since I testified as an expert, the courts have said I do know what I'm talking about, and they've actually used my testimony to either convict or to let people go based on my testimony. So shut up, you big crybabies. Anyway, so you can go to these cases, you can look them up. Again, if you run across a case you think ought to add to my deadly force document here, I'll update this document and reload it. So, and again, I'll use this to pass on so other officers, when they want to print this out or use it, if they're in some sort of use of force case, it might give them a good, something to give to their attorney. Because the attorneys won't know all these. They may say they will, but they won't. Anyway, all right, we'll end that there on the Costco shooting. And no charges are filed against the officer and why he was able to shoot 10 shots in a crowded room of shoppers. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Shit. Let me go back to that video. Hang on. So in the video at the time of the shooting, I wanted to show you what other people did about creating distance and survival. So the shooting hasn't taken place yet, and I want you to watch at the bottom of your screen here the people who are shopping. We have a lady here shopping. Watch this area right here. I'm going to just audio tape when I think the shooting happens. So I know you're going to want to glance up here and glance up here of the shooting. Stay on these people down here. Bottom of the screen. The shoppers. I want you to watch them run. Fighting now. I think the round goes off right about now. Watch people react. Here we go. You'll know when they hear the round. Boom! Here they go. Create distance. Get the hell away from the gun. Move away. Good job. They did not go to the shooting. They moved away. They started heading to an exit. I'll play this in real time because I know somebody will be like, it looked like they were slow. All right, let's do it normal time. All right, cry babies. Here we go. Real time. Do, 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 do. Boom. Wow. Get off me. Bang, 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 bang. 10 rounds. Oh, shit. Let's get the hell out of here. See him, Bell? Smart move, ladies. Creating distance. Okay, survival skills. Not peeking over, not getting out your camera and running over there and start videotaping. I just thought that was a good point. Anyway, we'll end that there on the Costco shooting. And cops not charged. Shocker. I think I said that when it first happened. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody go back to video and say that I didn't say that. But anyway, now we know a little more facts and they didn't charge him. We'll end that there.